Good morning! Long time no talking video. If you're new here, my name is Nicola and this little space is to share my photography and document life around me. I usually let my camera do the talking for me, but I've been getting a few questions about how I approach photography and videography, like what camera I use, how I edit, color grading, and honestly I've thought a lot about how to answer these questions while staying true to the videos I love making. So this video will be a little different than usual, and instead of giving you a rundown of techniques, I'll take you through my process from start to finish. Today we're heading out to capture some early blooming cherry blossoms. I'm taking my usual 24 to 70 Sigma lens from their art series, plus a few extra lenses, so we've got some room to experiment. Photography and videography are personal journeys, and for me it's less about a step-by-step tutorial and gear rundowns, and more about sharing the thoughts behind the lens. What works, what are the struggles, and the constant experimentation along the way. And I want to show you how I see, how I shoot, and how I edit everything to bring it all together. So let's get started and head out to Kyoto. And we've arrived. Well, almost. There's still a little bit of walk to do, but I've already spotted some beautiful scenes. Having my camera with me is about noticing small things, the way the light moves, the quiet beauty in everyday moments. Like this farmer, for instance, carefully tending to his field, framed by flowers swaying in the wind. It just feels very poetic. Since we're headed to a rather busy spot, this calm setting was not something I expected to come across today, but was a very pleasant surprise. And here we are, at the Yodo waterway, a popular spot in Kyoto to see the first cherry blossoms. I wanted to focus on birds and people coming here, but I noticed very quickly that it was just too crowded for snapping interesting photos of people, so I shifted my main focus to birds and just the delicate sakura blossoms. The weather is perfect today, clear blue skies with a slight haze, but you wouldn't believe how quickly the light changes. I had a tough time adjusting my camera. Sometimes things just don't go as planned, and that's okay. As much as I love my usual 24 to 70mm lens, I'm really glad I decided to bring along my heavy bag with the 2 extra lenses. It's a great reminder that a scene can change completely depending on your perspective. I was really glad I could get this close. There are so many photography enthusiasts in Japan, especially in places like this. When I first got back into photography, I felt a bit intimidated pulling my camera out of my bag, especially since it's big and bulky. But in busy spots like this, where almost everyone has a camera around their neck, it felt more natural to join in. Over time, I stopped packing my camera away in my bag at all and just started wearing it on a shoulder strap the moment I leave the house. It's a simple way to erase that little hurdle and makes it easier to start shooting right away. I love shooting in the afternoon. Golden hour is magical, of course, but there's something about the light a few hours before it hits that really draws me in. The sunlight, especially on a clear day like today, almost cuts through the scene, making everything feel a little bit more translucent. Also, a little controversial maybe, but I tend to keep my white balance dialed in at around 5500K, because it gives me a somewhat more natural view of the world, just how I see it with my eyes. It's these small adjustments that help me capture the moments just as I experience them. As the day winds down and the light starts to change, it feels like it's time to head home. It's been a really nice day out, just wandering around the sakura trees and capturing moments along the way. But for now, let's get the train back to Kobe. And good morning on editing day. It usually takes me a few days to decompress and get into editing, so we're not even pretending this is the next day. It's another day. Let me get a cozy beverage and then let's sit down to edit. I'll save you my data filing routine because that just involves saving the files to different media, but for editing I keep my Lightroom catalog and recent files on an SSD drive so I can easily take everything with me and work from different computers. After importing the files, I start by picking my favorites and adjusting the basic exposure. When I got back into photography, I felt quite overwhelmed. So much had changed. I bought a few popular presets, hoping they'd help me rediscover my style, but I wasn't shooting epic landscapes or creative portraits, just quiet, simple moments on the street. The presets never quite fit. For a while, I felt defeated because I couldn't make my photos feel like mine. After a lot of trial and error, I found my direction and built a set of presets and LUTs that feels true to me. Warm, rich tones, soft pink midtones, and kind of cooler highlights and shadows. Now I can just pick the look that fits each shot. Just like before, I start with the basic adjustments, find a look through my preset, and then do a few fine tweaks. For this particular photo, it was actually really hard to decide in what direction to go. So in cases like that, I will use my LUTs, which I've also installed as color profiles in Lightroom. It helps me to quickly build a base look that I can refine from there. And then, of course, there's Dehancer. They offered me a chance to test their Lightroom and Premiere Pro plugins last year, which still feels surreal considering the size of my channel. But ever since then, Dehancer has become an essential step in my editing flow. After finishing my main edit, I'll open the photo in the extension to add a little bit of halation, bloom, or film grain, if it fits. It's a really beautifully crafted, intuitive tool, so big shout out to them. For the video editing part, I've prepped my timeline with the postcard frame, a LUT layer, and Dehancer layer, just to make things smoother. Let's make some video postcards. I set my sequence to a 4:5 ratio, so I adjust the video footage to fit. Once the footage is in place, I adjust the white balance and exposure since I shoot both video and photo on the same camera and only rarely use log footage at the moment. I know it's not ideal, but I'm happy with how it looks for now. I love how these video postcards give a photo-like feel with just a little bit of motion. It's been a trend for a while now, and I really enjoy the contrast these offer to the fast pace of these like sharply cut reels. And here's the first set. I choose shots that already feel static, and if needed I add warp stabilizer to smooth out any shake, since I shoot handheld and my camera doesn't have in-camera stabilization. I'm happy with how the second set turned out, but I decided to separate the fisheye shots into their own sets. They are a bit different from my usual work, but I promised myself to experiment more, and I really like the warped look of these three scenes. Finding your own style can be tough. It's a journey full of self-doubt, questioning if you're on the right path or even if you're doing it right. But there's something beautiful about building your own world, filled with the colors, tones, and details that speak to you. Over time, it all starts to come together in a way that feels true to you, and that's what makes it special. It's not about getting it perfect, but about finding what resonates and enjoying the process.